This is the Honda City in mid-trim V-trim. You can say that this is the top-of-the-line non-RS trim. And this car right here is my favorite trim of the Honda City. So what exactly do I mean by that? Well, the Honda City is named obviously after the city, and instead of thinking about the racetrack that you would get with the Honda City RS, the Honda City V exudes a more sophisticated style to things. If you take a look at this car from the front, instead of having a lot of black and red on it, you do get a chrome grille. And I don't know if it's just me, but I absolutely love chrome right here. It just looks a lot more grown up. The lights too, while you don't get LED headlamps, they still look good as is. And you even got some of these fake vents down below in the bumper just to give it a little bit of sportiness. There is even a chin down here. On the side of the car, you still do get 16-inch rims, but they also look a little bit more grown up. They look sleeker right here, a little bit more spokes on it. And what I love about the Honda City is it's not too big. This is what the Honda Civic used to be, because the Civic nowadays has just grown up way too much now, but this is just the perfect size for a city car. Now you also do get some repeaters here on your wing mirrors, and you got a lot of these powerful character lines, and even your door handles are also in chrome. This one also does get smart keyless entry, by the way. What I don't like about the Honda City though, on the exterior at least, is that it suffers from the same bloating effect that a lot of these subcompact sedans get, because they try to make the car a little bit wider than it is long, so it looks a little bit fat here over at the side. And if you take a look at the rear wheels, the offset is kind of weird as well. It's pushed in a little bit too far inward, so a little bit of spacers could probably help you out here. At the rear, it's the same story. It looks very grown up. You don't get any of that ricery bits over here, so you don't get an RS badge, you don't have that spoiler, but at least you still do get these really nice looking tail lamps, and you even do get a shark fin antenna up top. While you don't get reverse sensors for this one, there is a reverse camera that is more than enough. Open up your boot right here and you are looking at a pretty good 506 liters of space. However, you can't fold down your seats, not 60-40, not 50-50, not even 100%. So you are stuck with 506 liters of space. But I reckon this is more than enough for all of your grocery needs inside the city. Pop open the hood, and what you're looking at right here is a 1.5 liter inline-4 gasoline engine making 121 horsepower and 145 newton meters of torque, making the power figures inside the Honda City class leading. It is also mated to a CVT transmission that is actually pretty good, and fuel economy wise, this car is excellent. You're returning around 10 kilometers per liter in the city and about 21 to 22 kilometers per liter on the highway. And even here inside the interior, it's also not too sporty. But first, we check the door, and it sounds about all right. Now, the first thing you'll notice here inside the interior is that you lose out on the part leather that you would get with the RS trim. However, you still do get a lot of cool features right here. So you still do get push button start. You do lose out on your paddle shifters though, but at least you still do get cruise control, and your steering wheel is still leather wrapped, and you can still even tilt and telescope it. The dashboard is clad in a lot of hard materials, and they are pretty plasticky, but they do feel rather durable even here on the side. Also, there's a lot of white in here to make it a two-tone concept. You also get an 8-inch screen towards the middle with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Plus, you also do get a reverse camera with 3 configurable modes. Down below that is a single zone climate control, and even further down below that are 2 USB ports, a 12-volt outlet, plenty of cubbies, 2 cup holders, and even a jug holder on the side. And probably my favorite part about the Honda City is that it still does come with a traditional handbrake, which means you can do a lot of handbrake turns with this one if you so desire. Do it only in a safe place though. Finally, the instrument cluster is one more thing that they change out a little. So it is exactly the same, however, it no longer gets that red rings around it that you would get with the RS. For the seats, they are pretty comfortable, and while they are still manually adjustable, the thigh support that they give you, including these not too aggressive bolsterings, is just a-okay and is perfect for a car of this size and for what this car is supposed to be. For features, you do get only 4 speakers compared to 4 plus 4 tweeters on the RS trim, and you only get dual front airbags plus side airbags. You don't get curtain airbags. And now right here at the back, we check the door. That sounds a bit better than the front. And now here at the back, you get tons of space. I'm talking about legroom, headroom, and even feet room. And while you're a little bit down on amenities back here, what you need is right here. So first of all, you do still get these integrated headrests, you get big windows, and you even get your own rear air vents. You do lose out on a couple of things right here. So same thing, you don't get any of that part leather on the seats, and you don't get the charging ports right here under the air vents. But well, you still do get a map pocket on the passenger side of things, and you even get a huge bottle holder on the doors. Plus, if you want to seat 3 people back here, I mean, for incredibly short journeys, you can kind of do it in a squeeze, but for longer journeys, not really, because the car isn't exactly the widest. Driving this, it truly is a very agile and nimble car. Yes, the suspension setup in this one, you do get torsion beams at the back, but it still is good enough for most of those corners that you do want to take. And in a lot of cars, a torsion beam system at the rear will mean a little bit of some sort of a hopping motion when you're going fast over corners, but you don't really get too much of that here in the Honda City. The power delivery is also quite excellent. So you have 121 horsepower, 145 Newton meters of torque, best in the class. And if you leave this car into D mode, you just floor it, it really does pick up speed fast. But this car has another trick up its sleeve. So you put it into S mode, which is basically its sport mode, and you just gun this car. It really loves to hold its revs. Now, the Honda City no longer gets the old Civic's VTEC, wherein you get a huge or massive kick at the top end of the RPM range, since this is the iVTEC version of that, and is tuned towards efficiency. But nonetheless, this car really still wants to go. Honda may have already given the new Honda City an electronic power assisted steering, and yes, it is a little bit vague at times, but it still is communicative enough to give you enough feedback to throw this car over corners with confidence. I mean, there is a little bit of weight to it. It's not as light as some of the cars in its class, and it truly still is a fun experience. Driving the Honda City inside the city is also pretty good. You know, the way it deals with speed bumps and potholes, it truly is not upset by them. I mean, sure, you do feel them, and sure, it's not as comfortable as, let's say, a Geely M Grand, but it is in no way as harsh as another competitor, the Mazda 2. So this is just a great blend between giving you just enough handling to have fun, but also being incredibly livable with inside the city. Now, when you do get up onto open roads, the Honda City can still perform. Even though you have the CVT transmission, which arguably does have a little bit, just a tad bit of rubber banding effect to it and some sort of a groan, the way that it still gives you power as you want it, even when overtaking, is definitely agreeable. But what isn't too agreeable with the Honda City, as well as a lot of Hondas in general, while you do have pretty good noise insulation in terms of wind noise, your tire noise is a little bit apparent. So if you're a little bit finicky, if you're a little bit particular about having the quietest ride in its class, then perhaps the Honda City is not for you. The Honda City in this mid-trim V-Spec may lose out on some of the nicer gadgetry that the Honda City RS gets. But as it is still a car that is of excellent value. And whatever it loses out on in terms of sportiness, it more than makes up for in terms of being sophisticated and sleek. One that befits a car that will most probably be often driven inside the city. And at a price point of 1,018,000 pesos, exactly 60,000 pesos cheaper than the Honda City RS, this variant right here, the V variant, is probably the best variant of the Honda City.